Right guys, what is going on? BusterBarnes here, bringing you my match review of Chelsea's 3-0 win away against Burnley at Turf Moor. A really complete performance by the Blues. I'm going to be getting into all the key moments of the match, as well as giving you my player ratings and adding up some points at the end of this video to add to our player of the season score ranking system. So if you guys do enjoy, please be sure to leave a like, comment down below your player ratings, as well what you thought of the game in general. I would love to know. And as always, subscribe for more Chelsea FC content. Looking at the team Lampard put out today, he did actually go for the 4-3-3. Now, I was a little bit sceptical, was wondering if Lampard would think it was too risky. He did just play it at the end of the Krasnodar game in a game that was already won, so I was thinking, will he give this formation the trust it needs? And he actually did, to be fair, and what a game to probably introduce this system against a Burnley side that isn't looking too good. I was a bit worried though going into the game. It was a very windy, wet day away at Burnley. I was thinking, this could turn out to be the worst, but actually it was an alright game, which we pretty much dominated throughout. So yeah, decent. We did see Kante in that lone DM role. He had a great game. I'll get onto him a bit later. Kai Havertz and Mason Mount in the two attacking 8 positions. We did see Werner on the left-hand side. He was actually going to be given a rest for this game. However, Pulisic did unfortunately pick up an injury in the warm-up, so hopefully a speedy recovery for him. It was going to be Tammy Abraham that started up front, so something that I didn't predict. However, I did think it was a decent lineup, and a lineup that probably should have beaten Burnley. So, and that's what it did. So, decent lineup from Lampard. And yeah, going into the game, we pretty much dominated the entire first half. A lot of possession. Did get some chances. Maybe our final third decision making still was a little bit to be desired. I don't think Werner is the greatest on the left hand side. He's definitely an option if we need him. However, his creativity, whilst I think he does have an eye out and some decent vision, I just think that the final ball that he plays just isn't really there, at least at the moment. He did provide a lot of energy though, as did all the front three. Tammy Abraham really improving his hold-up play, as I've seen that pretty much over the past season it's been improving, really holding up the ball well and offloading it to the wings and the midfield. So I think he had a decent game. Mason Mount spraying passes to the left and right as well. Thiago Silva doing the same, winning some good aerials against a big physical Burnley side. It was Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes up front, so Thiago Silva and Zuma even did have a difficult challenge on their hands, but they dealt with it really well. And yeah, just an overall great performance. Mendy didn't have too much to do, but it was still a nice, composed performance from him. First half is in fact when we did get our first goal of the game. Tammy Abraham did offload the ball to Ziyech, who shot, and it did controversially maybe just go in and pass Nick Pope. Nick Pope, I think, was going the other way, and Ziyech basically just shot in the middle of the goal, and the momentum of Nick Pope took him the other way, and the ball just kind of rolled in to the centre. Now, you could probably put this down to one of two things. Maybe you could say it was luck, it was fortunate, Nick Pope just didn't know what he was doing, or you could also say that Ziyech saw Nick Pope going one way and actually wrong-footed him and put the ball in the back of the net. I'm sure we'd all love to think it was the second one. I'm not too sure. I guess the jury is out on that one, but either way, that did put us 1-0 up in the first half. A little bit worried I was when half-time went, as we were only 1-0 up and probably should have been winning by a little bit more, as we did completely dominate the game. Kante dominating the midfield. Yes, you could maybe say he didn't have loads of pressure on him like he does in other games, but he was even winning aerials against this big Burnley side, really just basically bossing the Burnley midfield. So yeah, Dale Stephens I think did come off later. He really did not have a great game for Burnley in the centre of midfield, but that was the first half. Going into the second half, and it was just more of the same. We did score when Mason Mount whipped in a corner, and it was yet again Kurt Zuma who got his head on the ball, a bullet header into the back of the net. And Kurt Zuma now is our joint top Premier League scorer with Jorginho. I mean, what a two to have as your top two Premier League scorers so far. Actually, I believe Werner is level with them as well, so at least that's something. You do want at least one attacking player in with a shout of being the top scorer for your club over the season. But yeah, bullet header from Zuma, just absolutely great in the air, always, whether it's defending or attacking. I think over the past few weeks he might maybe of the shakier of our back line. However, I don't think that's much to worry about. I think he brings so many good positives to the team, and also it has only been just a few games. Like, he might just be going through a little bit of a rough patch, a little bit of a sketchy patch. You know, he wasn't like this some games before and last season. So I think that hopefully that's just down to maybe a little bit of a rough patch in his form at the moment. But either way, we're still keeping the clean sheet, so you can't really have too much of a go when it comes to that. Our first goal did come from a nice counter-attack when Burnley lost the ball, went to Reece James, he drove up the pitch, passed into Ziyech, Ziyech a nice through ball to Werner, Werner with basically a finesse shot into the far corner to get a goal, and I really didn't think Werner had a great game, but he did get his goal, which is all we can ask for him. Ziyech getting an assist and a goal in the game as well, he did very well, but that was pretty much it. Burnley didn't really have any great chances, to be honest. I did notice that I was quite surprised, and it really does show that Burnley are really not having a great start to the season. Their players were going down very easy, like Tarkowski, like Ashley Barnes. I just thought that they were just flying to the ground when you consider Burnley to be one of those tough, you know, physical teams. I really thought they were just taking any opportunity to like draw fouls, or fouls that weren't even fouls, that were very soft. So interesting from them. Sean Dyche just kind of moans a lot, doesn't he, at the moment? I don't know what's going on with him. I wouldn't mind if Burnley went down, to be honest. I think they've had their stay in the Premier League. But who knows? Sean Dyche is a great manager, so they could definitely pick themselves up. I think that's what Burnley basically do when it comes in the league. They usually start off a bit slow and then pick themselves up as the season does go on. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. But that was my game recap, guys. Let me know what you thought of the key moments of the game in the comments below. But if we're going to get to my player ratings of the game, starting off in goal with Edouard Mendy, gonna give him a 7 out of 10 now. What I learned in the last few player ratings that I've done is I think maybe I've been a bit too harsh. Like when the players had a good game, I've maybe gone a bit down because I don't want to be giving players 10s and 9s, because I personally feel like that just shows a bit too much reactionary bias, but I think in some games it doesn't. So Mendy's going to get a 7 just because he didn't have much to do. However, he did catch some crosses, he did keep a clean sheet. Obviously the base rating for an okay performance is 6, so I think the clean sheet, some good cross catches, you know, didn't have too much to do. I think a 7 is a good enough rating for him. Starting next at left back, Chilwell. I'm actually going to give Chilwell a 6.5. He kept the clean sheet, so I think that gives him a bit of a boost from 6. However, to be honest, I didn't notice too much from him going forward. I think it was a solid display, don't get me wrong. Maybe deserves a 7, but I heard some people talking about that he was like the player of the match, and I don't know if that's just people on the Chilwell hype train, 'cause he's been very good recently, but I thought he was fine. I think he did a nice little drag back. He was nice, calm and collected, but just didn't add much for me going forward. So and his crosses were very bad, and I do think that you can put some of that down to the wind. Like the wind was, you know, pushing the ball like sometimes out of play. However, when you compare him to Reece James did put in some good crosses. So if Reece James is putting in good crosses, there's no reason Chilwell can't as well. So I'm giving him a 6.5 out of 10. Both the centre-backs, Thiago Silva and Kurt Zouma, are going to get 7.5s out of 10. I probably would have ranked Thiago Silva higher than Zouma if Zouma didn't score that goal, but he obviously did, so you've got to give him credit for that. Very good display from both of them. Like I said, Zouma looked shaky maybe at parts. However, the shaky moments that he looked like were when he was competing with Barnes and Woods, and those are two big strikers, and Zouma still came out the better of those duels. So I think that whilst it might have looked awkward, or that Zouma could have lost, you know, the physical battle, he didn't. So even though it might have looked a bit sketchy, I don't think it was. So I think people were maybe a bit harsh on Zouma being sketchy in that game. I think he was alright, but Thiago Silva was very composed, winning aerials against the big strikers, pinging passes. I thought that he was definitely very, very composed, leading the back line, clean sheets with him in the team, same with Mendy, just great additions to the team thus far it seems. Both of them getting a 7.5 with Zouma getting that goal from Mason Mount's cross. Lastly, Reece James, going to give him a 7, a bit above Chilwell, clean sheet. I thought had a composed, calm game, but he was just a bit better going forward, delivered some better balls, drove up the pitch obviously for a key pass in that third goal, so I do think he was probably the better out of the two in this game, so a 7 for him. Next one, N'Golo Kante, going to give an 8 out of 10, maybe could be an 8.5. It was a very complete performance. I think the only reason I haven't gone higher is because it was against a Burnley team that maybe didn't apply that much pressure to him. Having said that, though, he won aerials against these big Burnley players. His pass accuracy was 96%, very good for Kante, one that some people argue isn't maybe the best with the ball at his feet, and he was passing forwards as well. He was delivering forward passes, so you can't just say, oh, he was just sideways passing. He definitely wasn't doing that. So I think the jury's still out, and then maybe seeing him perform like this in a bigger game would be interesting. However, He's a world-class player, really great performance from him, a performance that you'd expect, 8 out of 10 for him, hopefully more of the same coming from him as well. Mason Mount and Kai Havertz are both going to get a 7 out of 10 for me. Thought they were just both great, thought they were good going forward. Mason Mount delivering some good passes across fields, Kai Havertz drifting through the Burnley players, doing some nice passes as well, getting himself out of sticky situations. I think that maybe one of them was slightly better than the other, and I'll get on that a little bit later. However, I do think it was both a solid performance from both in the 8th position. Kai Havertz just very, very versatile. Mason Mount, probably his best position is this number 8 role, so I do hope that when we do see Mason Mount on a Chelsea pitch, it will be this role that he does take up. I mean, he can obviously do a job in other positions, but I think this is the one which he is best at. It will be interesting to see if he takes up the number 8 shirt from Ross Barkley if he goes on loan again next season or does in fact leave the club. But yeah, 7 out of 10 for them. Going to the front three, going to start with Timo Werner. Going to get a 6.5. If he didn't score that goal, I probably would have given him a 5.5, guys. Not going to lie. I wasn't a fan of his performance, and I'm not completely saying it's his fault. I don't think he's a winger. Obviously, he wasn't prepared to, or not prepared, he wasn't going to start the game. It was going to be Pulisic, but he had to replace him through injury. Callum Hudson-Odoi didn't start. Now, I think that could potentially be just because Hudson-Odoi did have that knock coming off the Krasnodar game, so I think maybe a bit of leeway for Lampard on that one is fair. Would have liked to have seen him start though, but maybe it was just a bit more of a precaution, if anything else. But yeah, Werner, maybe he's a bit like Aubameyang on the wing. I can't really say that certain because I don't necessarily watch all of Arsenal's games, but he makes good runs, gets in good positions, does provide a goal threat. However, just on the creative level, there's a lot of times where just the pass was either behind the other player, or, I think he did well to get passes in the box, but they just weren't really meeting anyone. I do like that he's got the eye, though. He does seem to have the vision of where to put the ball. It was just not necessarily his day in that aspect. But he did get the goal, the third goal. Really nice finish, calm and composed. Hopefully he can get some more goals as well in his name. And yeah, that's going to be a 6.5 for him. Hakim Ziyech is going to get an 8.5 rating. Goal and assist for him. Very nice performance. Some good crosses, some good runs. And, against Burnley, a very physical side, he really held his own. I think people were worried about how Ziyech would adapt to the physicality, and I think he said in an interview that actually physicality isn't necessarily down to player by player. It's more down to the mentality. If you go in with a mentality that, oh, you're weak, you're going to get bullied, that's what's going to happen. But if you still back yourself, if you're still confident, which Ziyech does look to be, you're going to deal fine. And I mean, hey, physicality doesn't matter if the other players can't touch you. So, yeah, 8.5 for him. I was thinking that him and Kante were maybe level, but I just saw a lot of people online praising his performance, giving him man of the match, so I do think that maybe it is a bit warranted for him to get the slightly higher score. Maybe his goal, like I said, was a bit fortunate, but the jury is out on that. Got the assist as well for Werner, so a very nice performance from him as well, following on from that nice one against Krasnodar. Lastly, but not least, Tammy Abraham's going to get a 7 out of 10. Got the assist for Ziyech's goal. Did some nice hold-up play throughout the game. Didn't necessarily look like scoring loads. He did have that one header that forced a decent save. But, yeah, I thought it was a solid performance from him. And Abraham's actually gone really under the radar this season. I think he's got a goal contribution every, 40 minutes or something crazy like that playing for us this season. And he hasn't got many minutes, but he's got assists, he's got goals. And I just think he's a really big asset to this team and can happily come in for Werner in some games that we need him. Against Burnley, I thought it was a smart decision playing him as he's a bit more physical, a little bit more dominant, and he definitely showed that he could hold his own against that Burnley defence. So a very solid professional performance from Tammy Abraham as well. Getting onto the bench, Hudson-Odoi, Giroud and Jorginho all did come on. Going to give Hudson-Odoi actually a 6.5. The other two are 6. The other two didn't really have loads of time to come on and make an impact. Hudson-Odoi, though, I thought was actually positive when he came on, making some good runs, putting some good balls into the box. A really cheeky lob as well over the Burnley defence up to, I believe it was Werner, who unfortunately couldn't get the ball out of his feet. I thought it was a really nice appearance from him, so I'm going to give him the extra boost of the 6.5. Giroud actually did almost score, but was just offside, and he actually was offside as well. It wasn't a VAR catastrophe. He actually was just offside, so unfortunately his goal didn't count. Would have been an assist for Chilwell, which would have done very good for my FPL team, so a little bit gutted about that. But it's good that he looks lively and that he does look ready to come on whenever we do need him, so that is great from him. But getting on finally to my player of the season point scoring system, as you guys know, where I give players either 1 point, 2 points or 3 points that we add up at the end of the season and see who I think is going to be our player of the season, or who deserves it at least. I'm actually going to give 3 players 1 point, a player 2 points and a player 3 points. The 3 players who will be getting 1 point are going to be Thiago Silva, Kurt Zouma and Mason Mount. I was actually just going to give this to Kurt Zouma and Thiago Silva. However, with a bit more thinking, it's been like a day after, I did think Mason Mount actually did have a very solid performance. A lot of praise from people online, so I do think he does deserve the point as well. Like I said, Zouma maybe wasn't in line for this, however, he did get a goal in the game, which does help him out. I believe he's the most valuable FPL player, actually, in terms of points per million, so that's something a bit crazy from him. Thiago Silva, very calm and composed, so a point for him. Kante is going to get 2. Was really debating giving him the 3 points, not going to lie, but I do just maybe think Ziyech edged at this performance. Ziyech was getting noticed by a bit more of the fan base as well, so I thought, to be fair, maybe Ziyech deserved the 3 points, so spoiler that he's getting the 3. But Kante, really complete performance from him. Defensively sound, controlled the game, and pass accuracy was good. Jules 1 were great. I thought he had a really solid performance, and just some of the best of Kante, and I think resting him like we did against Krasnodar really benefits him at the moment as he does get a little bit older. Ziyech, 3 points, first Premier League start, really professional performance, really looks confident, looks silky smooth, gets the assist, gets the goal, and yeah, really solid performance from him, really solid first 2 games from him. I think he's been man of the match in his first 2 proper starts for Chelsea, so that's great, and hopefully that's more to come from the Moroccan international. But that is it, guys. Those are my player ratings and my player of the season point scoring system. If you guys agree or disagree or want to just let me know yours, please leave them in the comments below. Like I said, be sure to leave a like for more Chelsea FC content, and subscribe as well to the BusterBarnes YouTube channel for this sort of content, as well as Fantasy Premier League videos and FIFA 21 videos as well. I do hope you guys all have a nice day, and I'll see you next time.